Here live from Radio Row with my guy, Jesse Merrick, man. And it is so good. We're going to end our week on a high note. We get to hang out. The Eddie Paskal and Jesse Merrick experience is back, rocking and rolling once again. And what better place than the Mandalay Bay Convention Center, man. This has been a busy week, an exciting week. Yeah. And for our pals at News 3, you guys have been crushing it, dominating.
It definitely has. We're running it back like it's training camp, man.
That's
I love this right now.
Yeah.
Training camp vibes. But, man, it's been a lot of fun. A crazy week, as you know, and I'm sure everybody at home knows from watching everyone's coverage. So much going on, really. Our city's time to shine. It's been a blast so far.
Yeah, and when we were talking about folks that we want to have come in with us this Friday, I mean, you were obviously at the top of the list for a lot of reasons. We love working with you, friend of the program, et cetera, et cetera. But I think what you can do is provide a little different context simply because you've been running around, right? You've been covering all the events. You've been covering, obviously, the football side of things. But I think also, too, you have a great understanding, a great appreciation for what this means for the city of Las Vegas. Yeah. So let us start here. What has this week been like for you?
Man, I guess hectic would be a way to do it, but I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just kind of running from event to event nonstop the entire time, which has been a blast. This is my first Super Bowl that I've covered. You know, so this is something I've been waiting a long time for to cover and everything like that, and to have the opportunity to kind of run around the city, it's been so cool. So Monday, obviously, opening night, you know, the craziness of that, seeing both teams come out at Allegiant Stadium. Obviously a little weird, seeing the two teams there at Allegiant, the home of the Raiders. But what an exciting night, just as you see, really, that's like your media circus night, where you really see how many people are here. Tons of Niners fans in town. I mean, it was so loud down there. And then Tuesday, I actually had my one off day, which was surprising. Yeah, I got to run around, though, still kind of went around, went to be seen and be seen, go check out the setup that they have out there at Lake Las Vegas, went to the media party as well. Wednesday, spent my day down here on Radio Row, ran into you. That was a scene, my first experience of Radio Row. And then last night, the NFL Honors Award Show. I mean, that was awesome. Again, the red carpet was unbelievable. It felt like it was 5 miles long, just a nonstop car wash of all the heavy hitters from the NFL coming through. And then now I'm here with you. I mean, this is the highlight of the week, man.
Oh, look at you, friend of the program. And we're going to get to NFL Honors a little bit later today, but I'm just kind of curious. You've been here a little bit longer than I have. You have, I think, one of the great things about all of our friends at News 3, such a pride in this area, such a pride in this city, in this city, and such a pride in kind of everything that's going on here in Southern Nevada. So from your perspective, man, like, were you, I don't want to say surprised, but at what point were you like, oh man, like there is a real chance that Las Vegas is going to get a Super Bowl. We're going to have a chance to show this little region off to the entire world.
Yeah, for me, it was year one for you guys moving out here. You know, just being there, being in the stadium. Obviously, there were no fans there, but it was that thing where you're just like, man, this beautiful Taj Mahal of football here out here in the desert. You were like, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And then you see all the different events that come into town, and every single time our city just puts on, I mean, we know how to throw a party. And so it was like, all right, just waiting. They finally announce, and then it's that anticipation for when it finally comes. And man, talking to everybody, like, you know, who's going to say, oh, I hate it here, I don't like this Super Bowl here in this location, whatever. But like, you can just tell the genuine excitement for people in town. I mean, think about it. If this is in another city, you're sitting in traffic for hours on end getting from event to event. I mean, max, you're sitting in traffic for 20 minutes to get from wherever you're going down here. The setup has been great. Every casino has a massive ballroom, a massive convention center like we've got here. So the city's just so well suited to handle something like this. And I think this has been Vegas's chance to really kind of flex and show everybody what we got. And also, too, when you throw in the fact of the history that Las Vegas has with betting and everything like that, and so many people that thought this would never happen, and now that it's here, it's like synonymous. It's not awkward. We're embracing the fact that this is a town that was built on betting and gambling and sports betting and everything, and now that's become such a big part of the sports world and football in general. So it just now seems like a match made in heaven for Vegas and the NFL.
Yeah, and certainly we're hoping that this is the first of many Super Bowls that will come back to Las Vegas, and we'll get to have these parties every 4, 5, 6, whatever, you know, whatever the number of years is in the cycle. But, you know, you and I, two California guys, that's where we grew up. Obviously, you in Southern California, me in Northern California. And I think what's been really interesting this week is having a chance to talk to a bunch of folks who have lived here for decades, right? Who have lived in other places but have been, you know, put down roots in Vegas. And we've seen so much from the locals here, but also from our folks outside of this region, hearing about how the perception of Vegas has changed, right? And how it is a legitimate sports town now. We talk about the Knights, we talk about the Aces, the back-to-back champs. So many more things coming, F1, so many types of events that want to be here, that want to be associated with the city. And I just kept thinking back to when you and I were kids. You and I are more or less the same age, growing up, and that wasn't the case for this. So I think it's been really cool to kind of get that, what's the perspective from folks who have been here, who have seen it, and seen how it's changed, and it's been really fun.
I mean, I don't know about you, but like, so this has kind of been a bit of a reunion for so many friends of mine that I've worked with around the country and everything. but also the fact of like when you meet people, they're like, where the heck do you live?
Yeah.
They all think that we all live on the Strip, you know? And so I think for me, moving here, much like you probably, you realize there's life outside of the Strip, but man, the Strip and everything that it has is like the lifeblood of our city, and it's been on full display. Imagine, too, the beauty shots that they're going to be taking during the game. I mean, Vegas is going to be on full blast. So it has been wild to just see not only this week and everything, but how much the city has changed in our time here. I mean, what, this is 4 years for me, or 4 years for you, 5 years for me. You know, the growth has been insane, and it's wild because really, like, it's only the beginning for what Vegas is going to be doing. We're still kind of in our infancy in terms of being a sports city, and so many people are already referring to us as the entertainment and sports capital of the world. I can't wait to see what the next 5 years have to hold.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. But, you know, speaking of 5 years from now, we talk about, obviously, the success of the Silver and Black, and we hope that we're playing in one of these games sooner than later. But, you know, since the last time that you and I have talked in a television video sense, Raiders have been busy, Jesse Merrick. Antonio Pierce, now officially the head coach of the Silver and Black. Tom Telesco, the general manager, building out this coaching staff, getting it closer and closer and closer to a full staff. But, you know, you obviously cover this team on the daily. You were there for the first AP press conference. You were there for the AP introductory press conference when the tag comes off. I mean, what were your kind of just impressions when you figured out, when you discovered that, hey, this guy ain't going anywhere, AP is going to be the dude for the Silver and Black?
To me, it was just like, man, you got it right. You know what I mean? It just felt like the fit was there from the start. And you can tell, too, I mean, not only the players, the alumni, the fans, that last game against the Broncos, as he's going off the field and they're chanting AP, AP, I'm getting chills just talking about it because that was an unbelievable moment. So for me, it was kind of like a sigh of relief because, like, look, whoever Mark would have hired, you go full speed, and that's a great pick. But the fact that it's AP, it just felt right, you know? And ever since then, I think now you see the players kind of breathing a sigh of relief as well because now they know they have that continuity with a guy that they love and trust, and they can motivate them. I mean, that's such a big thing in the NFL right now. You look at with Dan Campbell and what he did with the Lions, you know, and that's kind of the hot hire now is these guys that come in are like master motivators. That's AP. But at the same time, this guy's also a big-time football guy, and what he doesn't know, he's bringing guys in to kind of fill in those holes. So for me, I think it's a great move for the team. He's got the right attitude, the right mindset, and he just feels like a Raider. And I think for this organization, more than anything others really in the league, like that matters more.
100%. And it's so funny you bring that up because we've talked to so many people, and the line that I keep coming back to is Antonio Pierce at this moment is the perfect coach for the the Las Vegas Raiders because he understands the uniqueness of being the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And in the best possible way, Jesse, right? There's 32 teams, teams do it 32 different ways. The way that we do it is a little funky sometimes. It's a little different. It's not necessarily the cookie cutter corporate, this is how you run a football team. And I think that there's such power in that, and I think that there's such a unique aspect of that Antonio understands. And you look historically, the folks that have had success here, players, coaches, front office, are the folks that embrace that, that celebrate that, and say, yeah, we're going to do it different, and we're going to do it the Raider way.
And that was the thing from his introductory press conference. The thing that stuck out most to me was when he said, not everybody is meant to coach or play for the Raiders, and that's going to be something that he thinks about. And some people that haven't been around the team may not get that or may think it's corny and cheesy, but it is so true because there is that mystique around the franchise, you know? And so I think with a guy like him, like, you're going to get these guys that are maybe kind of more those vintage type Raiders players that have that little bit of attitude and edge, and they're going to be the ones that, like, pregame, you can win the game just based off of the attitude that you bring to the table. Or at least if you don't win the game at that point, you kind of plant those like seeds of doubt, you know, in the opponent's brains and stuff. And like, look, this is a mental game at the end of the day too. So that's definitely part of it. And just the feel of it. You go in those locker rooms, it's that like party atmosphere. That part is just awesome. I love it.
Yeah, and Antonio's certainly not doing this alone, Jesse. Tom Telesco, his partner now in the front office, officially the general manager of the Silver and Black. And we've gotten to know Tom a little bit over the past couple weeks. He's got a lot to do, a long checklist of things to accomplish leading into the draft. But my kind of major takeaway from getting to know him is, Jesse, I feel like he's going to be that perfect complement to AP, right? AP, we're talking about all the things we love about him. He's loud, he's boisterous, he's going to walk his walk, he's going to talk his talk, and he expects the guys in the locker room to fall in line and be authentically themselves. Tom, a little more reserved. The adjective we keep hearing is prudent, right? A guy who's going to be very purposeful, very methodical about how he goes to work each day and builds this roster 1 to 53. Do you see them as a good complement to one another? Do you see themselves as a good balance, a good yin and yang?
I think so. I think they're going to balance each other out well because you've got AP, the face of the franchise, the guy out there, kind of the tip of the spear type of thing. And Tom can be the guy kind of pushing the buttons behind the scenes, really making things happen. And also, too, you look at Tom and his time in San Diego and LA, you know, both of those, he's evaluated talent so well and gotten guys to stick on that roster. I mean, it's a lot of homegrown talent on that team over the years, and that's obviously something that, you know, the Raiders have struggled with in recent years with so many of the first-round picks. And so you bring in a guy like that, he's going to be able to pick out the groceries for AP to go and cook, and that's awesome. I think you need that kind of balance. And a guy that maybe is a little more kind of here rather than with AP where he's going to be that loud, boisterous guy, but you now have all the tools you need in a talent evaluator to give you what you need to go and win.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's credit to Mark Davis for being thorough in that process, right? For understanding, like, hey, I want to talk to as many people as I can. I want to get a really good picture, a really good kind of portrait of what I'm looking for in a head coach and a general manager, and really building a group that we talk about is going to be balanced, is going to be able to break this, you know, bring this team into 2024 and beyond, and that is going to be really exciting. But speaking of exciting, you and I are just getting started. We got a lot more to do between now and noon, and when we come back on Raiders Live from Media Row, we're going to hang out with our friend from NFL Network, MJ Acosta-Ruiz.
Hey Raider Nation, my name is Cheyenne. I'm originally from Grand Junction, Colorado, and this is my rookie season with the Raiderettes. When I'm not cheering with the Raiderettes, I am traveling. I'm very outdoorsy as I grew up in Colorado. I like snowboarding, hiking, mountain biking, honestly anything that gives me adrenaline rush. And I also have a small business where I create custom clothing. I have been dancing my whole life. I started cheering when I was really young. I was maybe in first grade was my first cheer team that I was on. I started dancing in the 3rd grade, and I've been dancing ever since. My passion for dance comes from being a little bit quiet as a person, but when I am performing and I'm on a stage, I feel like I get to be my authentic self, and I just get to express myself in ways that I don't always get to. I wanted to become a Raiderette because I view these women as such powerful girls. They're poised, they're passionate, they're strong, they're fierce, and it's just a team that I really saw myself and I challenged myself to be on. What I'm looking most forward to this season would be stepping on the field for the first time with all my sisters. Thanks for watching, Raider Nation. Just win, baby.
I'm one of the program directors here at the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada, and today we have the Raiders that came for this special event called Stretch and Move program. Yeah, so the Stretch and Move program, basically getting our youth to pretty much stay healthy and fit. They did a wide variety of different activities where they got to do some yoga. They got to, play various different physical fitness games inside the gym, and really just getting them to stay fit. I really feel like it's important for our youth here in the community because, it's very important to remind them the importance of staying fit and healthy and how to practice healthy habits. That's one of the program areas that we actually focus on during our health and wellness programming, is really teaching our youth what it means to make healthy decisions and staying fit. Honestly, a lot of our youth, they really look up to the Raiders, and they don't really get this opportunity every single day. So for them to have the Raiders come out and do this clinic for them, it really motivates and inspires them, to kind of be like them, right? And when they have that inspiration and that motivation, it kind of, helps them to make healthier decisions and to stay fit and to exercise. Because honestly, they don't get this opportunity all the time.
3, 2, 1.
To be a Raider is to be bold, powerful, and loyal.
Once a Raider, always a Raider.
Raider Nation family is authentic, with the heart here in Las Vegas. We are often imitated, but can never be duplicated. Why?
The autumn wind is a Raider.
Because there is only one nation.
And we are back here on Media Row. Eddie Paskal and Jesse Merrick, our pal from News 3 LV. And Jesse, we were talking about it earlier, about Antonio Pierce building out this staff and really building out this staff with folks who have a lot of experience. AP certainly the first time being in that big dog chair, being in that corner office upstairs at the Intermountain Health Performance Center. But one of the bigger hires that he has made as of late, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, comes over from the Chicago Bears, and he's been a guy that we are very intrigued to see what he will bring to this Raiders offense in 2024. Just in first impressions of Luke Getsy as the new man in silver and black.
Yeah, look, I mean, I know it was a weird situation with how that all kind of came about, but for me, I think it's an exciting move for the team. You look at what the guy did just in terms of running the ball. Obviously, we'll wait and see what happens with Josh Jacobs, but if for whatever reason he doesn't end up coming back, you got Zamir. That guy toted the rock pretty well the last couple games of the season, and Luke Getsy has had one of the top rushing attacks in the league in his time in Chicago. Obviously, the passing attack needs some work, and Antonio Pierce has really been, out front about talking about that they need to work on that area of it. But also, too, you go back to his time in Green Bay and the familiarity with Devontae Adams. That guy's pretty good at football. Yeah. And having a guy that's comfortable with that guy, knows what he wants, knows what he can do, that's massive. And I think we're going to see a bit more, not necessarily what we saw in Chicago, but more of that West Coast type of scheme thing. And obviously, whoever the quarterback ends up being is going to determine a lot of what this offense will look like. But we're going to see more of, I think, the short passing game be developed more Devontae and these other guys on the quick slants, things like that, attacking the middle of the field, and the run game playing off of that, a lot of the play action passes as well. So I think it's an exciting move for this team and a good opportunity for him as well to be able to show what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking to AP earlier this week, Jesse, and he brought up a great fact. He goes, look, when you're at this level of football, he goes, everyone knows their X's and O's, right? Everyone can call plays. Everyone can scheme open player A, B, C, D, and E. He goes, but we're looking for fits in terms of what the Raiders want to be about on the offense side of the football. We are looking for guys that understand that philosophy, that buy in to that philosophy. We talk about Luke Getsy's desire to run the football, and AP has made it very clear. They want to be able to run the ball. Yeah. They want to be stout up front. They want to be big bullies on that offensive line and pound the rock, whoever the running back is, right? And so I think for me, you look at what Getsy was able to do in a historical sense at his last stop. They ran the football really well. So to me, it all seems like it's lining up. It all seems like we talk about that fit again. It seems like he is a guy who's going to be in lockstep with what Antonio wants, not only in terms of schematically, but philosophically as well.
Yeah, definitely. And look, the NFL and football in general, it's not rocket science. I know sometimes we see some of these offenses, and you look in Miami with the whole cheat motion offense and the craziness and all the motions and all those things that they do. But at the end of the day, if you can win the line of scrimmage, establish the run, that is a game changer. It opens up everything, and it's going to make life so much easier on whoever the quarterback is. And so I think you bring in a guy that has had a lot of success in that area to a team that has had a lot of success in that area. That is massive, and I think that's what opens the door for so many other things. And we talked about it in the training camp podcast. I'm on record as saying this offense should have been elite. Obviously, that wasn't the case. That ended up being a bad take by me. But, man, the tools and the pieces are still there for it to be an elite unit. You just got to answer one big question, and we all know what that is.
And that big question, Jesse Merrick, is who is going to be under center for the Las Vegas Raiders in 2024? We were talking to some of our friends from NFL Network, and they brought up a great point where you go into this season and you're talking about not only finding out who QB1 is, but you're essentially rebuilding a room, right? And there are so many ways to go about doing that. Where does Aiden O'Connell fit into this mix? Do you bring in a veteran? Do you go full rookie? Do you trade up? There's certainly no shortage of options, but my kind of, I wouldn't say 2 cents, but what I felt positive about is that Aiden O'Connell was better week after week after week. There were weeks that were really good. There were weeks that were not so good, but by the end of the season, you felt the version of Aiden that we saw in early January was better than the version we saw in November.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. And look, the numbers don't jump off the screen. And the game against the Chiefs without completing a pass for that long stretch, a lot of people like to point to that. But at the end of the day, I believe he still won that game, right?
And especially if you want to run the football like AP does.
Exactly, yeah. And so I think the guy has done more than enough to come back and compete for the job. But it is the NFL. There's competition at every position, and it's so cliche, and they say it every year, but that's definitely going to be the case there. And Aiden has definitely earned the right to come back and compete for that job. And look, I think we forget, the guy's a rookie, and he stepped into a really bad situation. Look how bad it was offensively. The back half of the year showed some really good things, showed good accuracy, was able to process, able to move around in the pocket. Obviously, there were some fumbling issues early on. That first game of the Charger, obviously, against the Chargers, sticks out a lot. But then he continued to improve, to your point there. So, for me, I'm man, let's see what this guy looks like with a full offseason, with a new offensive coordinator coming in, and in a better position to succeed, really.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of that, we talk about building out the room, is giving Aiden some veteran support to lean on, right? And whether that veteran support looks like a backup quarterback or it looks like a top-tier starting quarterback that the team acquires in free agency to push Aiden, I think competition is the name of the game. But certainly we go into this season, and the Raiders are going to have to address this one way or the other, whether it's in the draft, free agency, or some combination of both. But in terms of free agents in particular, I know the two names that everyone keeps talking about are Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield. As we get a full list of the quarterbacks up here on the board, is anyone in particular stand out to you that could be a possible prospective fit for what the Silver and Black are trying to do in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll be honest and upfront about this. I don't think Baker's getting away from the Bucs. I think they're going to sign him, but he to me seems like the really good fit in that regard. Just the attitude that he plays with. Yeah, exactly. Like we talk about the fit and everything like that. And in Tampa, you hear about how he got there and won over the locker room, so quickly. Obviously, we all know what happened in LA the year you guys played him. Not the best thing for Raider history, but a guy like that can come in and hit the ground running. Also, Kirk Cousins is a guy that Devontae got behind too. So that's another name to kind of keep an eye on in that regard. A guy that's been able to deliver the football on time and has taken advantage of his weapons in Justin Jefferson as well multiple times throughout his career.
100%. As we welcome in, the set is being crashed. Hello, sir. Hello, hello. One of our friends from NFL Network. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's very rare you get to walk out as it's happening. So
yes, the beauty of it. Question, we were just talking about free agent quarterbacks in terms of the Silver and Black. A lot of options for the Raiders. They are going to have to rebuild that room. What does your gut tell you the Raiders do in the next 30, 60, 90 days, the most important position in professional sports?
Great question. I think they're more likely to go veteran route than draft another player, although it's such a deep draft. Personally, even though Aiden O'Connell had great moments and I think he's going to have a career, I'm of the mind, like, draft a quarterback literally every year until you're absolutely sure you have one. Doesn't have to be in the first round. In this draft, I think there's going to be interesting quarterbacks in the second, third. Raiders, no, you guys have found, Derek Carr was a second-round pick. You can find starters in the second round. But the free agent class is pretty interesting, too. Like, there are a lot of mid-level guys, even, assuming it's not the Kirk Cousins of it all. There's Jacoby Brissett's, there's that sort of that level of quarterback that, like, you could have as an option.
Yeah, so I guess we were kind of talking about fits, like, for the Raiders.
Yeah.
That's such a big thing. Who are some of the guys, the free agents out there that you do have an eye on? You mentioned Jacoby, but who else?
Let's think off the top. Well, Flacco's a free agent. Ryan Tannehill's a free agent.
We're talking Baker, if he gets away from Tampa, which I don't see happening.
Baker, I don't think is crazy to me. I'm a big Jacoby Brissett fan in terms of just, like, he's going to provide a very high baseline. And if you actually look at how he's played in the last 2 years, just like numbers-wise, even last year, I know it's a small sample size, he was incredible. He came in there and, like, looked like the best quarterback in the league for the 6 quarters that he played.
Yeah,
and I think what's exciting, too, and if you're a fan base, right, like the Raiders are, you love having just the discussions, the debates with your buddies. What are the Raiders going to do at 13? Do they move up? Do they trade back? Like, how are we going to build this thing? Especially with a new head coach. Obviously, AP's interim tag comes off, so a new coach, Tom Telesco, the new GM. But when you look at Tom Telesco just kind of in a historical sense, the term that keeps getting thrown around with Tom is he's going to be very purposeful, very methodical in how he builds this roster. Does he strike you as the kind of guy that would kind of maybe put the chips in the table, no pun intended, and move up to that top 3, top 4 situation to get a QB?
It's hard to say because, in San Diego and then Los Angeles, he so rarely had really high picks. Now, he did when he took Rashawn Slater. That turned out to be a great pick for the Chargers. Herbert, obviously, he got to just stick there and take that pick. So I think they'll be open to everything, but I don't think he's a guy that's probably going to be giving up draft assets. If anything, he'd be more likely to move back. And, we saw that board. Minshew's out there. There could be guys who are on teams right now who become available. I don't think Russell Wilson would make sense for this team, but he's going to be available. Geno Smith, depending on what they want to do, like he could end up being available. So it's not just even the guys that are out there, but, like, I'd feel confident you're going to have, like, kind of that mid-level covered. You have Aiden O'Connell, which is a good 1B option, and then you can go into the draft just being open-minded.
Yeah, definitely. So going into the draft, being open-minded in that sense, if they bring in a quarterback in free agency, what do you think position-wise maybe they go with at 13?
13, I still feel like the defense isn't talented enough. I see on your needs, you got DL listed third. I would maybe put it higher. You know, I know Malcolm Kuntz played better at the end of last season. Going to be a nice piece with Max, but on the interior of that line, certainly getting another edge to me. I think all three levels of the defense, you kind of couldn't go wrong. They coached them up, I thought, really well last year, but I've heard kind of this talk of like, oh, the Raiders defense is really talented. Is like, I don't know. I just think they did a great job coaching, and they have good players, but they need more elite players like a Max Crosby with him.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a bunch really since the season ended, Greg, where, you know, Patrick Graham deserves all the credit in the world for, to your point, coaching those guys up. And, you know, coming into last year, and Jesse and I talked about it a bunch during training camp, that the perceived weakness of the team was going to be the defense. And if we would have told you in late December that the heartbeat, the catalyst of Raiders' success in 2024, or excuse me, 2023, was going to be the defense, none of us would have believed you. Not a single person. So I think that, to your point, adding some depth along there, some certainly big name free agent guys coming up off, coming off the roster for the silver and black. But I would love to see the defense addressed. I really would. But I think when you look at Max Crosby, a guy who is the forever engine, the forever heartbeat, how do you think the perception of Max has changed around the league over the past year or two?
I think all the primetime games y'all get, help, because he had monster games. I do Monday Night Football coverage for Channel 5 in the UK, actually, so I was doing those games every week, and it's like a couple of those games were just Max Crosby games. So, like, he's a top 5 defender in the NFL. If it wasn't so deep at defensive end this year, I think he had a chance to win Defensive Player of the Year. Sometimes that comes with making the playoffs and everything. I don't think he could have any more respect. I just think he's one of those dudes right now that's one of the faces of the entire league on defense. And it gets me thinking, like, I'm looking at those needs, and we're thinking defense in Telesco. Like, he always took value. Like, Derwin James, no one expected them to take Derwin James that year. No one really expected them to take Slater that year. So at 13, there's almost no position on the Raiders that'd be like, nah, you couldn't take that. You know what I mean? Like, you even got 2 great wide receivers you love, but wouldn't you want a third that's going to be on a 4-year rookie contract? Like, even if the right guy fits. So there's almost no position that I would say you could rule out.
Yeah, load up on weapons for sure. But I want to stick with Max for a second. You talked about, you thought he could have been in the running or should have possibly
got votes. He got votes.
Yeah, but no first place votes, right?
No, I think, did he come in? I wish I could check right now. Did he come in fourth over?
So, like, what's a guy got to do? I mean, why do you think Miles and some of the other guys got more votes than he did?
Miles, I think this year was a little bit of a career achievement award on some level. I'm not trying to be harsh, but also in the middle of the season, he was on a roll. He made a ton of game-changing, game-winning plays for a team that was a great story. And I do think he's been close to winning enough times that was a big part of it. It was like, all right, it's his time. If you dive deep, I actually picked Micah Parsons. I had Parsons 1, Garrett 2, Crosby 3. So I'm not going to come on your show and say he wasn't robbed. Yeah. Some of the, like, peek underneath the hood numbers for Parsons are crazy. For his pass rush win rate, way above anyone else. The amount of times he was double teamed, pretty high over anyone else. Just total pressures. And Max is great in all those, and he plays so many snaps. To me, that'd be the argument for Max, is that unlike those other guys, never leaves the field, great run defender, and the total package is maybe like a little better. But honestly, all 4 of those dudes, I don't know. I think you are splitting hairs to be like have a really strong opinion about anyone, because they all had really good seasons. They all had arguments.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like, you can't go wrong. As much as I like to wear my silver and black tinted glasses, I can acknowledge greatness when I see it. But speaking of greatness, Gregg Rosenthal, we have an opportunity for you, sir, to join the ranks of the great ones. We have a game that we've been playing with all of our guests this week. And I will say, the NFL Network folks, everyone from NFL Media has done awesome. So we have here for you the past 7 Super Bowl logos. Now, I'm
so bad with Roman numerals.
The question for you is going to be,
my mind turns off.
And they're in order, right? So it's 7 in order. Where have the last 7 Super Bowls been? So that we'll give you a clue on, right? This is the easy. This is the gimme. This is Vegas. So we're going to put some time on the clock.
Okay.
Here we go.
And we're going to see how
all right, I'm putting my microphone down.
I'm glad I wasn't asked to do this first, because I know it would have totally botched this one.
That's all right. All right. So we got the clock. We got the clock up. So we'll have you go in 3, 2. And he's off.
All right.
All right, we're 1 for 1.
He's got Vegas. That's a good one. Arizona, there we go.
Oh, okay, he's cooking.
All right,
cooking.
That's 3. This is where it gets tough.
4 for 4.
Tampa, all right.
Can I get my cheat sheet, Sam?
I believe he's batting 1,000 right now.
Okay.
Miami, yep.
All right.
I think he's got them all so far.
This is where I'm losing.
I will say the one at the end has been what's hung up people.
Yeah, come on, man.
What's that game? 18.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
See,
the wheels are turning.
I was here. I couldn't even give you clues on who was playing in those ones off the top of my head. It's so bad.
Was that one 17?
That'd been. Oh man, I think I know, but I can't say it. Obviously.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Here we go. Okay.
There you go. There you go. I think that's right. Yeah, I think so.
And we got one more. One more. Bring us home. Bring us home. And this is the tricky one. This is the one that. And time.
Oh.
All right, we're gonna get 59 seconds.
There you go.
And he went 7 for 7.
There you go.
He did it.
How about that?
He did it. 7 for 7.
Good stuff.
Did someone beat me time?
Let's throw up the leaderboard. Can we see the leaderboard real quick?
Yeah, we go.
Ah, man.
That's good though, man.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's impressive.
Atlanta messed with me. The time is bad.
Wow.
So we got you in 4th place. Look at that leaderboard, though.
Garofalo, 20 seconds.
He was a machine.
Yeah, what a monster.
He's not human,
machine.
you know. I'm happy I got 7 out of 7, though. That was what I was.
Yeah, that's good. A great effort. Really, really good.
That's
really,
impressive.
really
You know, as a Patriots fan, it's just so hard to keep all the Super Bowl wins straight. I couldn't remember what city that was in. Some dome, you know.
Oh, man. Oh, well, hey, man, this was so great. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We appreciate you being flexible, crashing the set, hanging out with us. It was so much fun. Best of luck this week. You guys are crushing it on the Round the NFL. We love listening each and every week.
Appreciate you guys.
Success, my
Good
friend.
luck next year.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. And we will be back. Raiders Live from Media Row.
Intercepted down the sideline.
We told the state of Nevada,
Touchdown,
that you're getting more than a football team.
the highest point total in Raiders franchise history.
You're getting an army.
You got to stay involved no matter what it is.
We have a commitment to this community.
And working in the community is the thing that we do the best.
One night, one cause, one nation. Be there as we put the helmets down and our hands out in support of Nevada. Introducing the inaugural Las Vegas Raiders Foundation Silver and Black Gala, featuring players, coaches, alumni, and entertainment. Join us in providing help and hope to those struggling with mental health issues. Secure your spot today.
Hey Raider Nation, my name is Madison. I am from Las Vegas, Nevada, and this is my 4th season with the Raiderettes. When I'm not cheering for the Raiderettes, I am a head dance coach for my former college dance team out here in Las Vegas. I absolutely love coaching for college dancers. I love working with my team. I hope to always just inspire them to be their best and work hard, and I just love watching them grow throughout the season. So I actually grew up playing competitive soccer for 12 years. I took dance classes here and there as a young girl, but I didn't start dancing seriously until high school. And then after high school, I was lucky enough to dance in college for 4 years. And then after college, was selected to be a member of the 2020 inaugural Las Vegas Raiderettes, and it has been the most amazing experience of my entire life. When I'm not cheering, some of my favorite things to do are travel. I absolutely love going to Disneyland. I travel there a handful of times throughout the year. I'm a big Disney girl, so that's always really fun for me. A fun fact about me is that I actually worked as a Disney princess for small parties and kids' events and things like that. Being a Raiderette has meant the absolute world to me. Being born and raised in Las Vegas and being able to represent my community and be an ambassador and role model for the community has been so rewarding, and to do it with an organization that has such amazing values has been so special and just so rewarding. Thanks for watching, Raider Nation. Just win, baby.
It is draft season, and with that, it's our pleasure now to welcome you to the Raiders NFL Draft Podcast.
This is a very exciting time. We get a chance to join the nation, Raider Nation, talk a little bit about the draft.
The Raiders very well positioned in terms of draft resources, draft capital.
This will be a fascinating watch as we get closer to the draft and kind of see how the Raiders put the pieces of the puzzle together.
We've got a lot to cover here over the next 8 weeks, and so excited to be here on this Raiders NFL Draft Podcast.
Raider Nation, stand up.
And the conversations just keep on rolling here live at Media Row. Eddie Paskal with Jesse Merrick and welcoming one of our friends from NFL Network, Kimmi Chex. And Kimmi, we were talking.
Yeah.
Veteran move out of you, rolling in on a Thursday. Class move, veteran move. 10 out of 10 standing ovation.
If we ever run back the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, that's just going to be my thing. Like, I have now cracked the code of perfection of when to show up to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Hitting your side on Sunday, like perfect timing.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And right as I'm like, all right, I need a break, I'll get on the plane on Monday, and there we go.
What has it been like for I know it's still so early for you kind of being here in the madness, but I mean, what has your impressions been of Vegas and how this city's really put on for the Super Bowl?
I mean, everybody knows Vegas knows how to throw a party. They know how to host people. They know that the world can come and descend on the city, and they have all of the resources to take care of it. So I think even last night at NFL Honor, seeing the amount of celebrities and people from the entertainment space who came alongside the NFL world because they want a part of the fun in Las Vegas, that was really cool. So I really think we're setting a precedent here, and as long as we have a successful game all the way through Sunday, I believe Las Vegas is going to be a stop for the NFL for a long time to come, and it makes sense. The city is amazing, the fan bases, that you guys have with the Raiders and people who live here, but the people who also are able to travel to Las Vegas and take part in the fun, it's incredible.
Yeah, I've heard so many people saying we should do it here every year, and I'm like, that'd be great. I don't know if we could all handle this.
Maybe every other.
If we could just get a break. Well, maybe if you guys, just. It's hard because you're here, but I'm like, if everybody just came in on Thursday, then it would be perfect.
Exactly. We got to plan it better.
Come on.
But I'm curious for you, as you're just getting here, what are you looking forward to the next couple of days leading up to game day?
I think it's really fun to see the storylines kind of continue to unfold, right? We've had days of media availability. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the game. Just seeing the anticipation grow, but then the conversations get even more nuanced about the Chiefs, about the 49ers, about all the storylines to watch on Sunday. Like that to me is like the most intriguing part. I'm such a nerd. I go back and turn on NFL Network back in my room to be like, okay, what happened today? Like, what's actually going on? Because it's easy to get kind of caught up in the pomp and circumstance of the days leading up to Super Bowl, but then you realize, like, we have an insane game on Sunday and two teams who are really playing lights out. So we'll see how the game goes.
We sure will. And so you talk about intrigue. Certainly no lack of intrigue in the AFC West. A lot of moving pieces. Antonio Pierce now in, and Jim Harbaugh now in Los Angeles for the Chargers. I mean, you look at some of the heavy hitters coaching-wise in this division now. My goodness. But when you found out that Harbaugh was leaving Michigan, coming to LA, what were your kind of thoughts?
So we actually broke the news on NFL Total Access, and there were days kind of conversations leading up to it, and we knew that Harbaugh was in Los Angeles and meeting with the Chargers. But the second we heard that, to me, I asked the question to my guys on the show, to David Carr and to Michael Robinson and my co-host Mike Yam. I said, why do you think Harbaugh wanted to go to a division that's so tough, that's had Kansas City lock up the West for 7-8 seasons in a row now, to have a division that just named Antonio Pierce the head coach, and the way in which the Raiders organizations and the players advocated and rallied around him? You have Sean Payton with the Broncos. Now we have Harbaugh. Like, there's so many pieces to the West. Like, why would he want to go there to a division that I could argue is one of the most competitively coached divisions? And the guy said, I think he liked winning that college championship a little bit, but the Lombardi looks even sweeter. And, they said, I'm sure he's fueled by the competitiveness of knowing, like, I'm a real deal coach and I can do this as well. So a bit surprising, but I think the Chargers is a great fit and an organization that just needed that little extra notch of experience and leadership from a coaching perspective with the pieces that they have with Justin Herbert and some of those franchise players.
Yeah, kind of along along those lines, I mean, what do you think he brings to the table for this team kind of moving forward? Again, it's the AFC Wild West, really, with the personalities from the coaches.
I know. I think it's interesting to see, the coaching staff that he does amass and the way, that the players embrace him, because he has kind of a fun reputation and a kooky reputation, and, the players who've played for him absolutely love him, but seeing how he's going to balance all of that is interesting, knowing that there is already a franchise quarterback in place, and knowing that, even defensively, they've gone up and spent big to lock in some of those players. So you have guys that you absolutely know are going to be with that franchise for years to come, and now you're bringing in a coach who we know is going to be with that franchise for years to come. It's kind of, to me, an interesting situation that maybe is a little bit similar, but also different from what happened in Denver, right? You locked in and you paid up huge to get Russell Wilson, then you bought in Sean Payton, and that situation seemed to kind of crumble a little bit. So while I don't think that'll be the case for the Chargers, it's really interesting now to see teams, instead of drafting some of these guys or trading, and drafting a guy from the very beginning, like coaches coming into a situation where you already have your franchise player. And I think the onus is on the coach to say, how can I coach this guy to play the best football?
Yeah. Speaking of those Denver Broncos, no shortage of quarterback questions for the silver and black, but the same situation you could say in Denver. Obviously,
right.
the Russell Wilson situation ends how it ends. We all assume it is going to end. But what do you think they're going to do at the most important position in professional sports?
That is a question I would love to ask Sean Payton. Damani Leach is an old colleague of mine at the NFL. He's the president of the organization there in Denver. I'm not sure. Like, there are so many quarterback questions that I'm sure you guys talk about all the time here with the Raiders on what do you do? Do you draft somebody? Do you trade for somebody? Do you develop a young quarterback? You guys have Aiden O'Connell, who I think played really, really well, and, just needs continued development. Like, I think C.J. Stroud is an exception of having a guy come in his very first season and just excel to this insane level of excellence. Patrick Mahomes, while he is an outlier because he's the greatest quarterback, I've arguably seen, and we've probably arguably seen from an athletic standpoint in the NFL, like, he sat for a few years behind Alex Smith. Waiting and seeing that development really take place and the consistency of coaching, I think that's what's going to have to happen for the Broncos, even for you guys at the Raiders. Like, I think that's the key piece to having a quarterback who can take a franchise all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the Chiefs, obviously they're the one that everyone's chasing. Right. If they happen to win again, then it's, back to back and trying to do that. What are maybe some of the pieces you can take away from the Chiefs if you're a team around the NFL, much like the Raiders, trying to get there in terms of how to build a consistent winner?
It's really consistency. I think it's consistency in coaching staff. Whenever I talk to Chiefs players, the way in which they talk about Andy Reid tells you everything. The consistency from him, the consistency from Brett Veach, the consistency from Mr. Hunt, the consistency from Mark Donovan. That organization has not wavered in terms of their front office staff. And I think for young players to come in and know, I know exactly what the expectation is. I know exactly what the level of excellency is in terms of how I need to play. And I know how I'm going to be coached and led every single day. That's really what you need. And I think that's why they've had success, the last few years drafting some really young players and immediately seeing them, developed and lead the league in their first, 1 or 2 seasons.
Now certainly the Raiders can be now looking for that consistency with Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco at the helms here in Las Vegas. But hey, before we let you go, and you've been so generous with your time, we're going to have you play the same game that everyone has played that has joined us on set.
Okay.
So what we have, actually, if you take a look at the leaderboard, they're going to throw up here for you a sec. We have the last 7 logos of the Super Bowls, right?
Okay.
They are in order chronologically. So what we are going to ask you to do is to put the cities where those Super Bowls were located.
Those are the people you're competing against right there.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay.
It.
Oh, this is in seconds?
Yeah. This is in seconds. And it will be time. It will be time.
Garofalo and MJ are monsters.
This is, okay.
Domination. All right. So are we good on the, do we feel good about the timer? Everyone in the control? We sure do.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hold on.
I'll give you a 5-second count in.
Wait, do I, okay. Do I need to write the full cities? Can I just write
we can do initials. We can do as long as you know in some way.
Okay, I'm ready.
In 3, in 2, go.
All right, let's see.
Oh boy, how we doing, Jess? You got better eyes than I do
right
over
there.
Here.
I believe 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4. We got another winner there.
Oh boy, this is going to be.
Top one's the easy one. All right, let's see. There you
Time
go. Look
14.
at that.
Oh man. Oh man.
Oh yeah, where's the timer?
Oh,
Timer's still running.
Nope.
They stopped it at 14. Stop her at 14.
14. Okay,
and
ready?
I think she went 7 for 7. I think we might have
Phoenix, LA, Tampa, Miami, Atlanta, Minneapolis.
She did. Oh, we have a new leader.
We
have a new leader. You know what it is? It's that Thursday. It's that Thursday. Everything's fresh.
Oh my gosh.
Everything's fresh. You feel good. You're rejuvenated.
Well, can I tell you guys a hint? Not that I because look, I'm shaking because I'm so nervous and I'm so competitive.
Yeah.
I'm like the most competitive person. I started at the NFL not on air, but as a business analyst, and I worked in the league office. And one of my jobs is I worked in the events department that did all the Super Bowl planning for Super Bowl. So I'm like, I have these so drilled into my head. If I would have lost, I would have failed. But am I now the new leader?
You are now the new leader. Yeah. And I think you only have to make it, as I look at the clock, you can make it another 6 hours. You will be the official winner of the entire week.
Okay, what do I get?
That's a great question. We will send. How about this? We'll send you a nice Raiders swag bag.
Okay, please.
How about that?
Please, I would love that.
Yeah. All right, everyone out there, whoever wins, Raiders swag bag, courtesy of Eddie and Marcus and Silver and Black Productions.
Oh my God, I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Domination. And this was so much fun. And as we take a look, there it is.
Look at that.
Throw it up at top. Number 1, Kimmi Chex.
6 seconds. Wow.
I mean, and that's an honor because Mike G is a genius and has been around the NFL world forever. So
it was pretty incredible too, seeing him in action live. I was like, there's no way anyone's going to take this.
No,
and
no,
here
I
you
did.
come. You descend on a Friday morning and say, no.
Hold my water.
Hold her water. And catch her on NFL Network. Man, this was so much fun. I'm glad you had the time to hang out.
It's so nice.
Kimmi Chex. And when we get back, more from Radio Row here in Las Vegas.
Intercepted down the sideline.
We told the state of Nevada,
touchdown,
that you're getting more than a football team.
The highest point total in Raiders franchise history.
You're getting an army.
You got to stay involved no matter what it is.
We have a commitment to this community.
And working in the community is the thing that we do the best.
One night, one cause, one nation. Be there as we put the helmets down and our hands out in support of Nevada. Introducing the inaugural Las Vegas Raiders Foundation Silver and Black Gala, featuring players, coaches, alumni, and entertainment. Join us in providing help and hope to those struggling with mental health issues. Secure your spot today.
What's it feel like here, NFL honors, someone who's played in the league, someone who's done what you've already done, but continues to grow and learn as a man? What has that process been for you?
It's beautiful. I mean, everything in my life has been stepping stone. Yeah. I don't cheat the process. I've gone really the hardest route you can go to get to this point. It hasn't been pretty at times, but more importantly, I stay true to myself. And I think that's what I really believe in. I mean, I'm about my core values. I push that on others. I do everything with a smile. I'm happy. I love what I do. But to be here at the honors, be here with the greats, both in the past, the present, and got some future probably greats here. And then when you're a former player and you're around it, it's that feeling that you miss, being in the locker room. Like that's why I came back to coaching. I want to be around the boys. You know what I mean? I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to smell it. I love that part of the game.
You remember that very first moment that you put on your jersey and hit that field?
Oh, yeah. No, it was like no other. Like, it was like one of those moments you looked up, and it was like you in a movie, right? You're looking up, and it's like, it felt like the stadium was bigger than what it was. It felt like the players were bigger than what they were, and the game went so fast. But then once you get that first hit, you go back to your natural instincts, and that's just playing football, the game that you love, you've been doing your whole life.
You make it look so easy, and we know it's not. It's not to get to this point in your career. I don't know if you had ambitions to be at this point, because I feel like in our lives we never know what's going to happen. Day in and day out it changes. How do you feel now that this moment's happened? Have you actually sat by yourself at all to hold it in and say, wow, I did this, I did that?
No, I haven't. I've been rolling ever since. Since November 1st, really October 31st, this bad boy been rolling. And I really don't plan on stopping. I'm okay. I'm built for this. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that's, can say they're ready for this opportunity. I'll be honest, I'm just built for this. And why you say that? Because I've been through so much of my life, adversity and other situation. Like, this is part of the process. And do you ask me a question? Did I see this happening? I did. I didn't know when. I didn't come into the game to be a linebacker coach my whole life. I'm used to being a leader. I'm used to being the one in front of the team talking. So I knew at some point it's just about an opportunity. And when Mr. Davis gave me the opportunity, I told him straightforward, you ain't getting it back.
You ain't getting it back. We're putting that on a T-shirt, a mug, everything. I talked to your wife. I know the family bond is so strong. Your boys always come to the game. They play basketball, not football, right? So, how does that feel?
It's good on the heart, but it hurts the soul, right? If you know what that means. But it's cool that they're taking their own path, you know, and I really appreciate that about them. They're three little dudes, and they kind of roll, and they go at their own beat, and I love it. They got different personalities. One of them got AP swag, the other one got their mama swag, the other one, he just different. So it's cool to see.
Before you get out of here, another thing I want to ask again, Raider Nation loves you. I think you embody that. I was born and raised in the Bay, and I've never had this conversation with you. When I watch you and my family watches you, we sit at the games when I'm not covering them, we're on our hands and knees like, come on. It's like we're in it. We've been in it since the beginning. My dad was there when it was at Laney College and like back in the day in Oakland. To have the memories that you have as a kid growing up watching that team, to have the heart that you have, what is it, if you can explain to the people at home that aren't a part of Raider Nation, what that core value is and what this team and this organization means and what this fan base means?
Yeah, I'm going to start with the fans because that's what it started for me. Being a fan when they were in L.A. at the Coliseum watching that bad boy roll. But it was something about that silver and black. You know, something about it, seeing it walking down the street, seeing the color, seeing the hat, seeing the logo, seeing the shield, seeing the patch. It gave you a certain swag, certain confidence, a certain belief, like you might want to choose otherwise. And the more important part of what I saw was a team that played together, a bond. As you heard Al just say it over and over, that commitment to excellence, like just win. Simple words. Like, you know, I always say the game of football is simple. It really is, because when you love it, you live it, you breathe it, you embrace it, you do it with one another. And the more important, what I love is that the fans embrace it so much. Like, you feel that love. Like, I felt that love at the end of the game against the Denver Broncos like no other. I'm talking about in my whole career, as a player or as a coach. That's real. That's real love. That's fan love. That's Raider Nation.
I know you got to get in because everyone's looking for you, I'm sure. Max Crosby's someone that you highlight a lot when you speak. He's got that 1% mentality. He's got that Kobe Mamba mentality as well. Quickly, if you can just describe that relationship that you two have. And then last but not least, what it just means to finally hold it down. There is nothing else but head coach. No interim, no nothing, to be able to have that title.
Yeah. First with Max, I mean, I think it started with our competitive talks. When I first got here, me challenging him, you know, he would challenge himself, talking about how great he wanted to be. I kept challenging him each and every day. Can he push a little bit more? And then that grew and grew. And then there was times, you know, me and him would butt heads, and in a positive way. And he knew what time it was, and I knew what time it was. So I always know I got to be 10 toes down with him. But what it means for me to be the head coach, I'm ready to rock. And I hope Raider Nation ready to rock with me.
So should we do it real quick?
Let's hit him.
1, 2, 3.
Raiders!
Yeah!
It is draft season, and with that, it's our pleasure now to welcome you to the Raiders NFL Draft Podcast.
This is a very exciting time. We get a chance to join the nation, Raider Nation, talk a little bit about the draft.
The Raiders very well positioned in terms of draft resources, draft capital.
This will be a fascinating watch as we get closer to the draft and kind of see how the Raiders put the pieces of the puzzle together.
We've got a lot to cover here over the next 8 weeks, and so excited to be here on this Raiders NFL Draft Podcast.
What a Friday treat here on Radio Row with one of my favorite people from NFL Network. Not only one of my favorite people from the network, one of my favorite people in general, the great, the legendary MJ Acosta-Ruiz. MJ, we are here. The energy is fantastic. Did you ever think when we were at 1220 Harbor Bay Parkway in Alameda that one day we'd be sitting here as Las Vegas hosted a Super Bowl?
No. Never. And first of all, I was very apprehensive about this week. Not apprehensive, I was anxious. I was anxious because typically most folks, and you guys are used to it now because this is home, but I'm 36 hours in and out. That's my max, hard out. And I've been here since Sunday. It's a lot. It is a lot. But I know like the people who live here aren't here all the time, and nor are they covering a Super Bowl every week. It has been awesome. It actually works. Like, it works. I was nervous, but this was like, seamless. You get here, you get there. Vegas is almost built for it.
It is 100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And we've talked to so many people around the league and around sports the past couple days, whatever it was, about how the perception of Vegas has changed, right?
Totally.
How the way that folks on the outside of sports or not sports look at the city has changed. So I'm curious. Obviously, you're so deep in with the network. You're so deep covering sports in general, entertainment in general. Like, from your perspective, like, what has changed about the way that folks are looking at this little city in the desert now?
Well, I think you have to think about it as a sports town. You've got the Knights, who have done tremendous work. You have an NFL team in one of the most iconic franchises in the league, in the Raiders here. You've got the WNBA and the Aces, who are back-to-back champions, period. Out with the Nikki Fargas earlier this week. She is phenomenal. Sandra Douglas as well has been out at tremendous events. The landscape of the sports world here in Vegas is tremendous. And so I think coming into a Super Bowl and already having that foundation there, it just makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And it's been a lot of fun for us. And we've only been here, 4 years?
I know, it seems like longer.
I know, it seems way longer. But even in that short time, MJ, we've been able to see the city change so much in a positive way. We've seen so many people come. We've seen so many businesses, so many sports teams. It's been a blast. But, when we look now at this week, obviously, big game here. And we'll get to that in a second. But, like, shifting back to silver and black, putting your silver and black colored glasses on, because I know you got them in the closet.
Always.
We're never boring, MJ.
Period.
We're never boring. We have had a lot of things going on the past couple months, a lot of excitement. It feels like we're at the start of an exciting new chapter for this organization. From kind of your perspective, like, what has Antonio Pierce brought to this organization? What has he kind of done to make it an exciting time to be a fan of the Raider Nation?
I think it's the soul that he brings, right? The grit that he already has, which is on brand tremendously with the Raiders franchise and the Raiders history. But you can just tell how much respect and how much love the players have for that man. That they see him as not only a leader, but also an equal at the same time, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, they can relate to him in a different way, but they know that they will run through a wall for Antonio Pierce. And even if you just think of his trajectory, right? He did a little TV for a while, then he got back into coaching, and like the way that he was able to lead those men to twist around a season. Was really remarkable to watch and really fun to watch. And like, you look no further than Max Crosby and how he goes for Antonio Pierce, right? That's the barometer. Check with Max. See how his energy level is with everything. And I think you can get your gauge.
And, it's so funny, because we've talked really since November 1st, since Antonio took over, is like, he has this, I'm trying to figure out, I still haven't found the right way to describe it.
He has a gravitas about him. Like, he really does.
He has a unique sense and understanding of what it means to be the Raiders head coach,
correct.
Right?
Yes.
And we've talked about it all the time, right? We do things a little differently. We're going to do things our way, right? There's 32 teams, and we always say there's 31 teams, and then there's the Raiders, right? But Antonio understands the benefits of that, the positives of that. And it's just, I always say this, for right now, at this moment in Raiders history, he's the perfect guy to embrace and encapsulate all that makes us unique.
Yeah, if it's the term on brand has never been more appropriate, right? With everything that's happening. And I think when he was named interim head coach, all of us in the media were sort of like, I hope that they see it the way that we're seeing it. I think because we also know him on a different level too, but we knew that what he could do, and then he showed the world what he could do, and the team certainly did as well and rose to the occasion. So it was just so exciting for everyone. We did a collective like, hell yeah, when he was announced officially as the new head coach. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, and we very much had the same reaction here in the building. I think that speaks volumes, that from the front office to the guys in the locker room, the equipment folks, to the training staff, that there was such a collective when that interim tag came up. But certainly not doing it alone in Las Vegas now. Tom Telesco in the mix. And one thing that we've kind of gotten to know Tom a little bit over these handful of weeks, I think he's going to provide that perfect balance, MJ, right? Because you have Antonio, who's loud and boisterous and is going to talk his talk and walk his walk. And you have Tom.
Telesco's a quiet dude.
Yeah, he's
real
a
quiet
dude.
About his business.
About his business big time. And the adjective that keeps coming up with Tom is prudent. He's going to be very prudent in his approach to everything. So when you look at that relationship, that dynamic, it really does feel like they're the perfect complement.
Even if you just think back to Telesco and what he did with the Chargers, and put the record aside, bless their hearts, put the record aside for a minute, but if you look at the talent that he brought into that team, Justin Herbert, you have Joey Bosa, and like the caliber of player, the talent problem was never the issue for them. And I think he has a tremendous business mind in that he could see the talent of a player before they even come in. So I think adding that to the roster that's already in Vegas, plus the Antonio Pierce portion of it, I think you're right. The recipe is like Gordon Ramsay would be proud of that recipe, right? I just went to his restaurant last night here. So it was great.
Love it. Flex,
fantastic.
MJ, flex. And I think the best thing about Tom, too, is like, if you're a member of the Raider Nation, your frustration in years past has been the inability to hit on some of those day one guys. Those top 10 picks, those top 15 picks. Well, you look at what Tom has done for the past 11, 12 years. That's what he does. He takes those blue chip picks, those high priority picks, and he turns them not only into really good players, he turns them into Pro Bowlers. And that, if you're looking at this Raiders roster, if you can start hitting on those day one guys, you're cooking the gas a little bit now.
No question about that. You're right, because if you look at even just like Justin Herbert in his first season was the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and like guys like that, Joey Bosa, before he started struggling with injuries, he was up there and getting awards and things like that. So I think you have to look at the pieces of it and see the forest for the trees, and not just sort of like the minutia of the day-to-day, the records of the team. I think you're right. He has that eye, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it weaves, because he does also know this team very well, right? So that'll be. I always love to see when people jump like that to see what he cooks on from the other side.
Well, I was joking with him the day that he came in. I said, Tom, we're going to have to eat a few more gray suits, a few more black suits. And he's like, I know. Give me some time. Like, I'm going to get it. I promise. I'm going to get it. But, obviously the ultimate goal for Antonio and Tom and how they're going to be measured is hopefully having the Raiders playing in a game like this, playing in the Super Bowl. And certainly a level of disappointment that we are not playing in the game. But I think a lot of pride for our organization that the game is here. We've gotten to play host. It's been a blast in that regard. And I think what's been really fun for us in the building, really over the past, let's call it 6 months, is to see Mark Davis, to see Sandra Douglas-Morgan, to see the organizational leadership have their moment in the sun and to be applauded and recognized for everything that goes into getting a Super Bowl. Because you and I both know, as much as we love the 53 guys on the roster, there's so much more that goes into getting a game like this in your city.
It's insane. Like, to be the host city is a huge deal, because there's so many other elements that go into it. You have to understand that you have to host people. Vegas hosts people, millions and millions of people on a regular basis. They're like, okay, Super Bowl, cool, come join the party. Like, we're ready for it. We do this all the time. So it's been cool to see everybody sort of descend on the city and come together, but you have international media from all over the place. I mean, Vegas just hosted F1. Come on. Period. I feel like that was almost, and no, please don't come after me, don't drag me, F1 fans. But for us here in the U.S., it did feel like it was a dry run for the Super Bowl.
100%.
Right?
100%. And speaking of the Super Bowl, we have a little game before we get to
I love a game.
I have a feeling you're going to do pretty good at this. So we've done this with all of our guests that have come to hang out with us this week. What I have here for you, and we'll show everyone since we're starting the day today again, we have the logos of the past 7 Super Bowls.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
So what we're going to ask you to do is put the city in those, in the corresponding area.
I'm ready
we're going to do it for time. I will say that the NFL Network has done very well.
Right.
Mike Garafolo, Tom Pelissero are top 2 as of now.
Got it.
So what we're going to do, we're going to get the clock ready. Are my friends in the control room ready with the timer? Hearing yes. There we go. All right. So MJ in 3.
Wait, including this one?
Yeah, that's the gimme though.
Okay.
In 3, 2, go. All right, 1 for 1. Easy. Oh boy. We are off to a great
LA,
start. 3 for 3.
Tampa.
Oh boy.
Miami.
Oh boy. Hey, come on, friends behind the camera, give me the answers.
Shit,
ready.
what was before Miami? Not me forgetting everything before the pandemic. Is it close in there? Is it Atlanta?
Okay. And
Atlanta.
We got one more. And this has been the one that's hung everyone up.
No. It wasn't this. It was Minnesota.
Oh, what you got? Okay. All right. Stop the clock. 32 seconds. 32 seconds for MJ. All right. Let's see how she did.
Okay.
Vegas, Arizona, LA, Tampa, Miami, Atlanta. She went 7 for 7.
What?
7 for 7.
Crushed it. Now how fast did I do it?
Do we have the ability to get the leaderboard up there, my friends? In the control
nervous.
Room? Let's see. Let's see what we're doing.
I'm nervous.
We're vamping. Here we go. This puts MJ Acosta-Ruiz squarely in second place.
Behind Garafolo. I love, Garafolo was
He dominated.
He crushed us.
But speaking
I'll
of
take that. I beat Tom.
You sure did. Speaking
Bragging
of domination,
rights.
though. You were
and Weiss.
Yeah, and Weiss.
Wow.
Weiss was on there, too.
Wow.
But you're crushing it. It's so good to see you.
This was so much fun.
Every time we get to hang out, which is not enough these days.
Not enough.
It's so good to see you.
We're adulting way too hard.
We are adulting way too hard.
Yeah.
Every time I see you, I get like a little smile because you're one of the 1220 crew back in Oakland.
Yeah.
You were covering us back in the day.
We're in it, man. We're in it.
And now we're here in Las Vegas having a blast. You're dominating. Continued success, MJ. It's always great to see you. We'll talk to you soon. And we'll see you guys back here on Raiders Live from Media Row.
Intercepted! intercepted down the sideline.
We told the state of Nevada
Touchdown.
that you're getting more than a football team.
The highest point total in Raiders franchise history.
You're getting an army.
You got to stay involved no matter what it is.
We have a commitment to this community.
And working in the community is the thing that we do the best.
One night, one cause, one nation. Be there as we put the helmets down and our hands out in support of Nevada. Introducing the inaugural Las Vegas Raiders Foundation Silver and Black Gala, featuring players, coaches, alumni, and entertainment. Join us in providing help and hope to those struggling with mental health issues. Secure your spot today.
To be a Raider is to be bold, powerful, and loyal.
Once a Raider, always a Raider.
Raider Nation family is authentic, with the heart here in Las Vegas. We are often imitated, but can never be duplicated. Why?
The autumn wind is a Raider.
Because there is only one nation.
Beautiful structure, man.
Yeah, and how is this for a Super Bowl surprise with one of the icons of not only hip-hop, rock and roll, and music icon? We're here with Flav. Man, what is going on, brother?
Hey, yo, I'm chilling, man. Just enjoying this atmosphere right now, man. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we finally got the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is here in Vegas, and I'm just overwhelmed right now, you know, and I live here.
Yeah.
So this is big to me. This is real big to me right now.
That's the thing. I mean, like you said, you live here. You've been a Vegas resident for quite a while, man.
Yeah, 19
To see our city
years.
put on, I mean, how cool has that been for you?
Yo, man, listen, man, this is cooler than 4 blocks of Ice Cube. That's all I gotta say, man. Ain't nothing cooler than this right now. Having the Super Bowl where you live.
Yeah.
You know, Flav, you said you lived here for almost 2 decades now. You've seen this city grow, transform, evolve. What's been the biggest change that you've seen in the place that we all call home?
The biggest change that I seen was how the land filled up.
Yeah.
And now there's a whole bunch of big buildings on the land that was empty. You know, when I first came out here, man, I mean, yeah, a lot of the casinos right now that are here today, they weren't here when I first came. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when they started building Aria. I remember when they first started building Mandalay Bay. You know what I'm saying? Because right where Mandalay Bay is, way back in the days, when I first came out here to Las Vegas, it was like, I don't know, maybe 87.
Yeah.
Right? And where the Mandalay Bay is, that's where a hotel was called the Dunes. Mm-hmm. And I remember our first hotel was the Dunes Hotel. Now Mandalay Bay is there. You got Milano. You got the Luxor. All of that stuff was not there when I first came here. But what's next to the Luxor?
We got next to the Luxor.
Excalibur.
Excalibur.
Excalibur was there when I came. Tropicana was there. Mm-hmm. We used to stay at the Flamingo, which back in the days it was called the Pink Flamingo.
Oh, man.
And they used to have flamingos right there on site, too, in the water, everything, man. I remember the Stardust. I remember when they first started building Trump Tower.
Yeah.
You know, the Trump Hotel. I remember when they started building a whole lot of this stuff down there. I remember when they tore down the Riviera, which broke my heart.
Yeah, lots of change.
So I've been here for a while, and I've been watching it. I remember when they built it, when the M went up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, how is this place going to survive way out here in no man's land? Because the M is way far down on the strip, you know what I'm saying? But, peace, but they doing it.
Yeah. No, yeah, now, and the Raiders have taken over Henderson now with the facility down there as well. I'm just curious, too, last night, man, speaking of the change in the city and everything like that, like, you got to check out the NFL Honors Ceremony the first time we hosted that as well. What was that experience like for you?
Hey, man, it was a lifetime memorable experience. And the reason why is because, like I said, I got to meet Lamar Jackson last night, you know, which is like my favorite quarterback in the NFL besides Patrick Mahomes. I got to see my boy Damar Hamlin. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Got to see my boy Ray Lewis, who's a real good friend of mine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of other, you know, legendary, you know what I'm saying? A lot of legends, man. You know, it was a great experience just being there. And
100%. And, you know, Flav, looking ahead now to Sunday, the big game, a man who knows how to entertain the people, right? You know how to get the people going. What do you expect to see from the biggest game in all of professional sports this Sunday at Allegiant Stadium?
What I really expect is a real explosive game, period. Because the 49ers, they ain't no joke. That's why they're in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes is my favorite quarterback. Last year, when the Chiefs won it, Patrick Mahomes went straight from the field, straight to Disney World with his family.
Yeah.
Mad respect to Patrick Mahomes. But I want to see him be able to do it again. I mean, I'd love to see the 49ers get a ring, too. You know, E40, yo, that's my boy. Too Short.
That's right.
Come on, man. Bay Area.
He knows.
Yeah, I love the Bay Area, you know what I'm saying? I love performing at a place called Yoshi's.
I know, in Oakland, right?
Yeah,
I know Yoshi's in
come
Oakland.
on, the Bay, man, the Bay. You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine. I mean, and the Bay is always going to be legendary to Flav. You know, Golden Gate Bridge, man, is one of my favorite bridges in the world because that's the bridge that fascinated me the most out of all bridges.
That's cool.
And that's because of the length of the bridge.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I'm from New York. I've walked across Brooklyn Bridge. I've walked across the 59th Street Bridge. But I've never, ever walked across Golden Gate. And one day I want to do it. One day I want to walk across Golden Gate. It'll probably take me, about maybe 2 hours?
Yeah, hey, you got to go do it. Put those steps in, man.
Yeah. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it one day.
That's cool. I mean, speaking of great architecture, we saw it on the bump coming out of break there, Allegiant Stadium. You've been there before. What'd you think of it, man? What's your take on just that Taj Mahal of football we got here in the desert?
Hey, yo, man. It's like a mirage. It's like a mirage in the desert. You know what I'm saying? But it's a real mirage, though. Matter of fact, talk about mirage, I got to go check into the mirage when I leave here. I forgot. Awesome. But anyway, it's a real good look here in the desert. I mean, the overhead view of the Allegiant Stadium is so beautiful. It's so immaculate, man. I mean, man.
It's definitely one of those things, especially
what Allegiant Stadium turned into is beyond my visions.
It's wild.
And I think for the fan base as well, especially when you fly in, and I know we've all had that experience flying in, into Harry Reid, you see, to your point, Flav, that architecture on the top, it's one of the prettiest, most beautiful pieces of architecture, never mind football stadiums.
I'm going to tell you my two favorite structures.
Let's do it.
Here in Las Vegas. Allegiant Stadium and the Sphere.
Yeah.
That's good. That's two good ones.
Heavy hitters right there, man.
That's two heavy hitters. What flavor?
Those are my two favorite structures.
A man with a keen eye for architecture, which I can appreciate. Flav, this was so much fun, man. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Thank you for letting me hang out with y'all, man.
And we will be back with you guys in a few minutes. More from Radio Row Live.
Raider Nation, stand up.
We are inside the locker room and Al Davis embracing Tom Flores. This is the first time they have met since the victory. Al, congratulations. Let us start out with the trophy presentation for Tom Flores and Al Davis. And here's the commissioner, Pete Rozelle. Pete?
Well, the Raiders, I think everyone would say, beat a fine football team today. The Redskins had won 31 of the last 34 games. And I think that it was clearly a very dominant win. You had scoring by your offense, by your defense, and by your special teams. And I think that while it's hard to mention just one, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the great job that Marcus Allen did in becoming the most valuable player of the game. And Tom, I think you certainly established yourself as one of the great coaches in the league.
Thank you.
With your consistent record of winning over the years, tremendous. And Al, you're to be congratulated for putting this cast together. You and the Raider management, you put together a great football team, and they sure showed it today. Congratulations.
Just win. Just win, baby. Well, I just want to say 2 years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future. And with all the great teams we've had, I think today that this organization, this team, this coaching staff dominated so decisively that two things must be said. Not only, in my opinion, are you the greatest Raider team of all time, I think you rank with the great teams of all time that have ever played any professional sport. The greatest coach, too. Tom Flores isn't just a great coach in our league, with all due respect to the commissioner. He's one of the great coaches of all time. And the coaching staff, the organization, and I want to say one thing to the fans and the great players who wore the silver and the black in the past all over the country. And I want to pay tribute to my partner, Ed McGaw, who died this winter. Again, you were magnificent. You dominated. And I love all of you, and you know that. And thanks a lot. Al, thank you very much. Excellent job. Yeah. Al, let me ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the years?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to bring your coach in. Congratulations, because the president, Tom, a very special fan, the nation's #1 sporting fan, President Ronald Reagan, is standing by live in the White House. We're not going to have any telephone call breakup tonight. We're going to hook you up live right now with President Reagan. Mr. President.
Coach, Tom Flores.
Yes, Mr. President.
Congratulations. That was a wonderful win tonight. I just think you ought to know, though, that you've given me some problems. I have already had a call from Moscow. They think that Marcus Allen is a new secret weapon, and they insist that we dismantle it. Now, they've given me an idea about that team that I just saw there of yours. If you'd turn them over to us, we'd put them in silos and we wouldn't have to build the MX missile. But it's been great. You proved tonight that a good defense can also be a pretty good offense.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I really appreciate it. We played a good game tonight. Our players were just tremendous in every phase. We totally dominated. I think we proved to the whole world that the silver and black is the best team.
Well, you certainly were from what we saw out there on the field tonight. And again, my congratulations to you. God bless all of you. And there isn't anything that I could say that would make you any happier than you all must be.
Well, thank you. I wish you were here to enjoy it with us, but I appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Tom Flores, this was one of the finest prepared football teams I have ever seen. You went right to work after beating Seattle. You kept your eye on Washington all the way. This whole organization was so confident when I was around.
Well, this is such a great group of guys, and you know, we just go out and do our job. We don't pay attention to what is said about us. We don't pay attention to all the hoopla and the distractions or whatever. We have a job to do, and we get it done, and it's just been tremendous.
You're listening to Upon Further Review. I'm your host, Eddie Paskal.
Good morning, Raider Nation.
Welcome to Raiders Roundtable. JT along with Eddie Paskal.
He dissects the play quickly and makes the move to the football.
We are back at Media Row here in Las Vegas. Eddie Paskal with my guy, Jesse Merrick from News 3. And Jesse, when I woke up this morning and I had my bagel and I hydrated, I got ready to attack the day, I did not anticipate that I would sit here with you and we would get an architecture and history lesson from Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Flavor Flav, but the beauty of the Super Bowl, my friend.
That was not on my bingo card for the day, that's for sure. But it was great, man. I love talking to Flav. You know, he's the guy every time, always so cool, always had something off the wall to talk about. You know, I love it, man. I mean, he's an architecture savant. Yeah. That's awesome. And he appreciates good architecture in Allegiant Stadium as well.
Yeah, Flav Lloyd Wright.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll go with. But, you know, it is interesting, though, too, just before we shift ahead to talking about the actual football stuff. I mean, you think about what it's been like for Flavor Flav to see this city change. And I know he talked about it and, you know, discussed all the buildings he's seen go up and buildings come down, but man, the Vegas of 20 years ago has got to be so much different than the Vegas of today.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it all the time. Just for me, in the 5 years that I've been here, things have changed so much. So I can't imagine a guy that's been here almost 2 decades. I always love talking to people that have been here for such a long time like that have that real perspective of like just how great the change has been in this city. I mean, seeing casinos demolished and rebuilt, it's just wild. There's not many cities quite like that where massive monuments in each town go under, you know, construction like that, get torn down. The landscape is just constantly changing. So it's just an exciting time, really the last like 30, 40 years of Vegas, and we're really just getting started, which is cool.
100%. Vegas definitely one of one in terms of cities that have those, like to your point, those cathedrals, those monuments that go up as regularly as they do. But let us shift back to the football. Let us talk a little Max Crosby, the Condor, number 98. So the positive news, Jesse, is that Max a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year award, as he should have been. The most, I don't want to say obvious selection in the history of selections, but very, very cool. The less positive news, Max doesn't come home with any hardware last night, but, you know, I think that just having him in that conversation now as consistently as he has been only spells good things for the future of the Condor.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I mean, look, that guy has popularized the quarterback pressure.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of times that he is, you see that number thrown out there all the time with him. And I think what Gregg talked about is like, put some respect on how many snaps this guy plays. You know, we locally here in Vegas, Raiders fans, Raider Nation in general, gets an opportunity to see him on a down in, down out basis. I don't think people quite realize how much this dude plays and how crazy that gas tank is. And I think the more that you guys really take hold here in Vegas and continue to get more primetime games and things like that, people are going to be exposed to it more, and I think we will see him get the respect that he deserves, because that guy ain't stopping anytime soon. He's made it clear he wants a gold jacket, so he's going to keep going up.
You know, it's funny too, because JT and I were talking earlier this week about kind of, I wouldn't say goals for 2024, but things that we would like to see have happen in terms of the Raiders roster. And JT says, you know, I would love to exist in a place where Max isn't playing 100% of the snaps. And I said, JT, I'm with you, but who's going to tell him that? Right? Like, who's going to be the deliverer of that message, right? Because I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty short message where Max goes, thank you, I'm going to respectfully pass. But we talk about that motor, and to your point, the fact that this dude never, ever comes off the field, he's getting better and better and better, as crazy as it sounds. Like when you and I were talking during training camp in July, we're like, hey, we know this guy's going to hit another gear in 2023, and he did just that. And it feels like the runway at this point is endless for what he can do, for what he's going to be to this team, this organization, and this league.
Yeah, the moment I'll never forget, and we've talked about this many times, is this year in the podcast. When he baptized Michael Mayer.
Sure did.
And he says, wait till you see this next one. Make sure you talk about it on the pod. And then, I was messaging him back and forth later. He goes, wait till you see what I do tomorrow. This guy just continues to stack days. And look, you guys are looking at the stats right here. I mean, in the top 10 in every statistical category that matters for an edge rusher. And as Gregg said, you think maybe with Myles Garrett, and no knock on him, an incredible player. But, man, it was probably more of a career award for him in that regard. Whereas Max, he continues to do this. It's only a matter of time till he wins that Defensive Player of the Year award.
And I totally get it. I kind of find myself in the middle a little bit, Jesse, where, you do want to acknowledge a guy for the body of work over the past 4, 5, 6 years, but it's the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Who was the best defensive player in the NFL this past season? And for my money, with the full bias of I wear my silver and black colored glasses, it was Max Crosby. But, one thing that I think will help Max a lot, certainly we saw it towards the back half of this year and going into next year, is to have a little Robin to the Batman. And Malcolm Kuntz was certainly that in a very big way. We talk about pleasant surprises in last year, and Malcolm's name has to be at the top of that list. If Malcolm can replicate what he did over the final 9-10 weeks, what does that do for not only Max along the defensive line, but that defense in general?
Yeah, the Raiders could have a true 1-2 punch at edge rusher, and that is critical. You look at so many teams around the league that have that. I mean, hey, let's point to the 49ers. They've got Bosa and Chase Young coming off the edge. Obviously this is what they expected they would have with Chandler Jones and Max. That didn't work out. So now Malcolm comes in and really stepped up. I mean, you look at the numbers here, the last 9 games of 2023, and where he ranks in the NFL. Top 5, top 15 in each of those. That's incredible for a guy that I think some people probably started to write off, but then things started to click, and he really starts showing what he can do. He's got the speed around the edge. That is, obviously we know in this organization, speed kills. Malcolm has plenty of it. And also, too, let's not forget about Tyree Wilson as well, the development that he showed. And also, he may not be that true edge rusher coming off the edge all the time, but he's a guy that Antonio said, kind of like that Justin Tuck guy that can slide around the offense or the defensive line, play multiple positions, move to the interior. That, I think, piece is going to be so interesting to see how he develops alongside Malcolm and how the three of them really play off of each other.
And look, I know this is not necessarily the sexiest take. I know that the fan base is going to feel the way they feel about it, but the reality is Tyree came into last year not at 100% health-wise. There clearly was a plan, like a health plan, a recovery plan to get him rocking and rolling. And I think that the Tyree that we saw over the last 6 weeks of the season, dramatically better, dramatically more improved, dramatically more disruptive than the Tyree we saw at the beginning of the year. And credit to Patrick Graham, and you and I have talked about this before, about Patrick Graham's willingness to move him on the inside, to say, hey, I have an immensely talented dude with all the physical attributes of the world. What do I need to do as a coach to put him in a position to succeed? And that is exactly what he and the defensive staff did for Tyree towards the latter half of that year. But, we live in a world now, Jesse Merrick, a football world, and we're talking about the litany of edge rushers that the Niners in particular are sending at the quarterback week after week after week. And it feels like waves, right? When one wave comes out and they tap out, there's another 3 guys ready to go to work. I would love to see the Raiders kind of address the depth a little bit of the defensive line in the coming months. There's certainly a handful of notable guys who are going to hit the open market. Number 1 on that list, as we see here, Chris Jones, who's going to be playing a lot of football this Sunday. But is that an area that you would like to see a little more depth added to between now and the start of the summer there?
Definitely. I mean, look, this year we saw some guys on short-term deals really pop. Adam Butler comes to mind. That guy was living in the backfield and I think very underrated. But, man, you look at Chris Jones, we're going to have a front row seat to what that guy can do. The one that really sticks out on there to me is Christian Wilkins. Nonstop motor. He's really good friends with Hunter Renfrow. He's obviously got the tie-in there. I mean, this is a guy that has been a linchpin for that Dolphins defense. Obviously, we'll see what happens with him if they bring him back. But, so many interesting pieces out there that you could really add to the table. I mean, look at Jadeveon Clowney. He's bounced around the league, but one of the better run defenders coming off the edge in the NFL. There's just so many interesting names out there. I mean, Josh Allen, if he becomes available, you talk about a 1-2 punch, that's about as good as it could get when you're looking at this board of guys that are available. Danielle Hunter as well. Chase Young, as we're talking about, going to get a front row seat to him as well. Leonard Williams, very athletic. Guy can move around that D-line as well. So there's so many options here, and obviously in the draft coming up as well. I'm really curious to see what the Raiders end up doing at that position.
I'm going to get greedy. I don't want a 1-2 punch in 2024. I want like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 4A punch. That's what I'm looking for.
Not one, not two, not three. Get them all.
Give them all. I want all the guys.
Yeah.
I want Max Crosby to have as much help as humanly possible. But we will be back in just a few minutes as we keep on rocking from here, live in Las Vegas, live from Media Row.
The Raiders headquarters, and we're participating in the RUSH program, which stands for Raiders UNLV Sport and Health. We're here at the RUSH program, primarily promoting flag football amongst our youth, keeping our kids involved. They're learning about nutrition, learning about making great choices for fitness, as well as learning different skills to play flag football.
It's been a lot of fun. We've been able to do tons of drills, talked a lot about preparing ourselves before a game or something like that.
You know, we know that middle school girls struggle with body image and things like that, so it's really important to think about nutrition. What do they need to eat to be able to do sports like flag football, to be physically active and to be healthy? We are so grateful for the Raiders for having this for our students to come out, to just opening their facilities, a nice, beautiful facility. We are so grateful for them for giving the kids that opportunity.
Hi Raider Nation, my name is Brittany. I am from Ontario, California, and this is my rookie season with the Raiderettes. When I'm not cheering for the Raiderettes, I am finding new adventures, hanging out with my dog Leah, crafting anything and everything, and playing Sudoku. I love going on different adventures and finding new adventures. I've been scuba diving, I've been skydiving, so I've also been skiing. So I'm trying to find that next adventure and that next thrill. One thing that I'm passionate about is inspiring the next generation. Being in this industry, being on this platform, you see younger dancers that look up to you, and so having that platform just to speak into their lives and just be a role model is extremely humbling. It's extremely important to inspire the next generation and raise them up to be amazing and even more amazing than you are. I have been dancing since I was a senior in high school. I did not grow up dancing, so I started late, but I think that was, everything happens for a reason, and that was my best option. That was my best journey that I took for myself. I've actually been running track since I was 7 years old. Both of my parents were professional athletes, so running track is in my blood. So I ran since I was 7 years old all the way up until college. After college, I realized that I wanted to just pursue dancing wholeheartedly, and I did that. And I've been dancing for 6 years now. Thanks for watching, Raider Nation. Just win, baby.
We are at the Metro Police Department in Las Vegas, just showing our support to all the officers and everything they do around the community.
For the warm welcome. A sincere thank you and just an extraordinary gratitude for everything that the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department has done, not only to help the Raiders actually move with our transition to Las Vegas, but obviously making sure that our stadium and the surrounding areas are going to be one of the most safest NFL stadiums.
Everything was great. Obviously, we're very appreciative of the officers and everybody here, and they're very appreciative of us and what we're able to bring to the great city of Las Vegas.
And because of that dedication and commitment to public safety, I truly know that the Metropolitan Police Department, not only their reputation, is what has helped us host a Super Bowl in our first 4 years here in Southern Nevada, which is truly, truly incredible. So a big round of applause for you all.
It's intercepted down the sideline.
We told the state of Nevada,
touchdown,
that you're getting more than a football team.
The highest point total in Raiders franchise history.
You're getting an army.
You got to stay involved no matter what it is.
We have a commitment to this community.
And working in the community is the thing that we do the best.
One night, one cause, one nation. Be there as we put the helmets down and our hands out in support of Nevada. Introducing the inaugural Las Vegas Raiders Foundation Silver and Black Gala, featuring players, coaches, alumni, and entertainment. Join us in providing help and hope to those struggling with mental health issues. Secure your spot today.
Back here on Media Row, Eddie Paskal with Jesse Merrick. And Jesse, let us do this for a little bit. I would love to talk about the playmakers. We saw Michael Irvin walking by earlier. Let's talk about the playmakers for a sec, especially on the offensive side of the football for the silver and black. And I don't want to disregard Davante at all, but we talk about Davante a lot, as we should. He is one of the best at his job in the entire world. The man is a machine. But I think what we would all love to see is that supporting cast for Davante kind of take that next step. We were talking about it earlier with the supporting cast for Max. What does the supporting cast for Davante need to do in 2024 to make him even bigger, better, and more productive than he was this past year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, obviously, it's not going to surprise you, just get more involved on a consistent basis. We saw Jacoby Myers be that guy that hit, I think a lot of people maybe didn't expect a ton from him, but man, he became a great 1-2 punch with Davante when things were really cooking. And I think he showed what he can do with this team. Obviously, it's going to be a different offense and everything like that, but he showed he's a quality receiver for the price you guys got him. Trey Tucker, another guy, that I think about as well, and the way that he developed and his speed that he brings to the table. Luke Getsy is going to have so much fun getting him involved. But for Jacoby, a guy that'll catch the ball over the middle of the field and play physical, whether it's in the run game or the passing game. We talk about Getsy and his rushing attacks. I mean, Jacoby's going to play a big part of that. We've seen him with the double passes. We've seen him on the sweeps. You name it. Again, that's other stuff that Tucker can get involved in as well. And I think a big part of that, we saw it with the Dolphins this year, is that cheat motion where guys are motioning, getting them going on the run. Almost, some people compare it kind of to the CFL where these guys get that running start. Obviously, there's an art to doing it, and they've managed to do that. And maybe you get Trey involved in it a little bit of those type of things of moving on the run. But then also, too, let's not forget about Michael Mayer as well, the tight end, the big-bodied guy.
Big fella.
A lot of people call him Baby Gronk. We saw him get involved a bit, much more athletic than I think people give him credit for. And I think, again, we joke about the whole getting baptized in training camp and all that stuff. He changed that narrative late in the season. He was the one out there dominating people. And so I think that's a guy that I'm sure Getsy is going to have a lot of fun getting involved in this offense. And I can't wait to see what he comes back looking like in year 2, how much more comfortable maybe he seems.
And I'm glad you bring up the Michael May story. And I tell my wife this all the time. I told my buddies, like, one day when Max is getting the whatever NFL Hall of Fame profile, that, the 40-minute deep dive football life, right? Like, we're going to tell that story of Max Crosby going toe-to-toe with Michael Mayer, essentially telling you and I, watch what I'm about to do to this young guy, and then doing it. But, I mean, I don't think you can say enough about the way that Michael responded to that. I think it's really easy. You're a high-drafted guy to come in and to unfortunately kind of get your lunch given to you a little bit by one of the best in the world. But he used it as a learning experience. And then we look towards the end of the year, and we were talking about this with one of our PFF friends earlier this week, one of the higher graded blocking tight ends in the NFL when all was said and done. So a huge credit to him for kind of having the wherewithal to understand, hey, this is just one chapter, one step in the journey. And I'm with you. If this guy can get healthy, stay consistent in 2024, he's going to be a problem for opposing defenses.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a guy that loves to play the physical side of the game. He embraces that. Multiple times when he kind of got going a bit in that offense, talking to him afterwards in the locker room, he noted how much he enjoyed like that physical aspect of blocking, and I think he really feeds off of that. And then when he gets the ball, like, he's got more wiggle than I think you would expect out of a guy of his stature. He looks maybe more like a blocking type tight end just because he's a big dude. But then you get him the ball, he can move around in space, man. And so that's been fun to kind of watch him. And again, as we're looking at the future of the franchise here with those 2 young guys and him and Trey Tucker, I mean, there's a lot of options. The speed and the physicality that these 2 can kind of play off of each other with, I think, is an exciting thing.
And I think real quick, though, Jesse, I think the key to both of those gentlemen, and really the key to this offense in general, is just consistency, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Michael misses a handful of games towards the end of the year. Trey Tucker has a few of those big plays, or shoulda, woulda, coulda been huge plays that we're not able to kind of really, iron in or reel in at that last second. So if both those guys can be more consistent, and I have every anticipation, every expectation they will be going into year 2, now you are all of a sudden saying, okay, we've had these guys elevate their level of play. Devontae Adams stays at the most elevated levels. This could be a lot of fun. You look at Josh Jacobs, whoever is running the football in 2024, going to be really exciting. But I look at the kind of overall roster construction as we sit here in early February, Jesse, and I would love to see some depth pieces added to that wide receiver room in particular. We've heard from Antonio. He's hearkened to the great Al Davis saying, hey, speed kills. We want to be able to stretch the field. Yes, Trey is really good at that, but there's some guys on this graphic here as well, Jesse, who can also do that, who can also be explosive, dynamic in the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're looking at this list just purely in terms of the speed, Hollywood Brown is a guy that sticks out amongst this group. I mean, he is a guy that can take the lid off and really cook. But the ones that I like on here, if you want to add that real physical type presence, Michael Pittman Jr. and Mike Evans. And you talk about Mike Evans, think about with Telesco, what he had and the receivers that he had in that group in there as well. And so Mike Evans can be that guy that comes in and continues to just have that success as a 1,000-yard receiver every single year that he is out there. Happened every single year of his career. So he's, I think, a guy to keep an eye on. But him and Michael Pittman Jr. both very similar stature-wise and game-wise.
The Mike Evans stats, we were doing this towards the end of the season this year. The Mike Evans stats, I don't know if you can sneakily go for 1,000 yards anymore, but it feels like, you look at this guy's numbers career-wise, historically, you're like, this guy is an absolute machine. Yeah. An absolute machine, top-tier wide receiver in the NFL. It'll be really interesting to see what he looks like come the start of 2024 and where he is calling home and playing football. But we still have a lot to get to. We still have a lot of friends that are going to stop by and hang out with us. And we will be back live from Radio Row here in Las Vegas.
This is such an iconic franchise with a storied history, and obviously it all starts with the legacy of Al Davis. So there was a connection and a fit, and I think that's really important in this league.
There's a lot of people that we affect by wins and losses. We understand that, and we don't take it lightly. Hey, like we talked about it, man. Blank sheet, new chapter, we writing our own script. But we believe. Think about what I said. I will, we will, I believe, we believe. God damn it, this is what the hell we do. Raider Nation. That bad boy good. That bad boy ready to rock.
When you talk about the Raider way or the Raider tenets of commitment to excellence, just win, baby, once a Raider, always a Raider. But when you walk in this building, you can feel it.
We're talking about doing it for one another, playing for one another, playing the game the right way. Biggest window? The front window. And guess what? Every door we go into, we're kicking that from now on. With all the doubters, with all the stuff they've been talking about, no matter. It's okay. We don't want to be liked, we want to be respected. We don't want to be liked, we want to be respected. And we've earned our respect.
First of all, suited and booted, you're looking good.
Appreciate that.
You're handling business. We've already gone through 2 surgeries on the off season. How are you feeling right now leading up to this night?
Feeling incredible. The first couple weeks were tough. I couldn't move much, but last 3 weeks I've been rehabbing, working out, doing my thing, improvising. But I got the best team in the world with the Raiders. They're working with me every day, so I'm feeling great.
Let's talk about this for a second. Defensive Player of the Year. These are multiple nominations tonight here. Defensive Player of the Year, Walter Payton, NFL Man of the Year, and the Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award. I was talking to Myles Garrett earlier, asking about you and the relationship that you guys have, and also across the league. I feel like you really resonate with a lot of the players. You got that Kobe mentality. Shout out to that. They just unveiled his statue tonight as well in Los Angeles. What are the emotions that you have knowing that young boy who started in football and where you're at right now?
Honestly, it's the biggest blessing in the world. Everything that's transpired over the last 5 years has all happened for a reason, and I know it, I trust it, and it all starts with the work. That's it. Everybody's got talent, everyone's got dreams and aspirations, but it's about the footwork, about doing the action every single day. I've been doing, just for example, like this week I've been busy, locked in. I got a million things I got to do, but the work comes first. I'm up at 5:20 this morning. I got the Raiders strength coaches, my rehab guy at the crib, and I'm working out 6:30 in the morning, getting to it for 2 hours. Like, that's what it takes to be here. It's 365 meals, recovery, literally everything. So that's why I'm here today. It's simply because I'm relentless at what I do and what I love. And this is only the beginning. The chip on my shoulder is only growing bigger. I want to be the greatest to do it, and it's as simple as that.
Something that I've noticed too, again, I'm from the Bay, and I will say this till the day I die. I've been a Raider fan since the beginning, silver and black. You've been there in Oakland as well. When you see what AP's done, the way that you guys all come together, and he's walking, I'm sure, shortly out here. I was with Sandra earlier. The way this team and this organization has come together to not let anything get in the way of what's happened, the bumps in the road. What is so special about Raider Nation? What is so special about the organization? And why do you feel like you fit here?
I mean, it's the greatest fan base in the world. Simple and plain. No matter where you go, if you see a Raider fan, they're screaming Raiders through any building. No matter if you're in a church, they're screaming Raiders. I mean, they showed me love since day one. I got it tatted, the shield tatted on me before I ever played a snap. I feel like I was born to be a Raider. I love this organization. I love everybody involved, and we just want to win. That's all that matters. I want people around me that are aligned with greatness and want to get a fourth Super Bowl here, and I feel like AP is exactly, he embodies everything that comes with being a Raider. So, every time, being a leader, sometimes you do things that other people might not agree with, and you might take some heat, but that's what being a leader is. I'm willing to stand in the fire for people I believe in, and I'll do it every single time, and I'll do it again.
What's the biggest lesson that you have learned about yourself? Is there one standout moment, trials and tribulations, everything you've been through, being a new dad, being married, being a father, just the whole thing in life? But what have you learned about yourself in the last few years?
I've learned that there's no such thing as sky is the limit. I always post more is required, 1%, and I live by that every single day. The main thing I learned about myself is that there's no limits to what I can do. I have the greatest support system. I have the best circle. I have my daughter, my wife. I have all my closest friends, my agent, everybody involved are like, it's closer than family. Like we're tied in for life. So they make it easier for me. And I'm obsessed with being great in everything I do and everything I venture in, whether it's a podcast or on the field, off the field, my foundation, whatever it is. If I love something and I'm passionate about it, I'm going to give everything I have into it, and it's only the beginning. I know there's more I can do, and I would say, yeah, the motto of my life is just more is required, always.
Okay, good luck in there tonight. Should we do a small, quiet Raiders chant?
Let's do it. Raiders.
Back on Radio Row, Eddie Paskal with Jesse Merrick. And Jesse, we're in the celebratory mood, right? Yeah. This is the biggest party in all of sports this week here in Las Vegas. But I want to celebrate the silver and black just a little bit. So let's go back to the studio and refresh our memory from our courtesy of our Raiders Game Day crew, the top 10 plays of the 2023 season for the Las Vegas Raiders.
But this season gave us no shortage of some top plays, and we go through the top 10 plays of the season with you now. Let's start off with number 10.
All right, here we go.
Week 6 against the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Max Crosby and
here it
Nichols.
Game over.
Safety.
Game over.
152 left in the game, the safety, and they say, hey, Mac Jones.
Do they have a stat for sacks in crucial times of the game? Because he does this kind of stuff all the time, right?
That should count as 2.
It should.
At the right time.
Count as 2. That's a big time play right there by man Max. Yeah, that's our house.
Right.
Yep, that's right.
Close it out.
And the Raiders went up 21-17. I love that.
There you go, 9.
Primal stuff right there. Week 9 against the Jets. Michael Mayer,
in the pocket.
the big boy, comes down with his first touchdown over Jet safety Jordan Whitehead.
He thought he had one. Head topper.
That is nice. Big Mike. We missed him the last 2 weeks.
I can't wait to see more of him next year.
Oh, I know.
I cannot wait. That is one thing to be very excited about in 2024. The Raiders won that game, by the way, 16-12. Week 8 against week 16 against the Chiefs. Christmas Day. Here goes a big boy.
Hey, big dog touchdowns is always the best touchdowns.
Nichols. Patrick Mahomes, sorry.
Yeah, scoop and score.
Get out the way.
Scoop and
Look
score.
Look at big dog pick his knees up.
Yeah, watch him touch
Oh, yeah,
Boom,
and he
lower shoulder.
Watch out, young fella.
What a great win that was. That was the signature win for Antonio Pierce's resume
Yes.
that he talks about on the grass. Let's
That
go to
was.
number 7.
Number 7.
Week 15 against the Chargers. Jacoby Myers
Uh-oh.
throws it to Devontae Adams in the blowout win
All
over
right,
the
that was a good play.
Chargers.
You throw to me, I throw to you. This equal touchdown. That's a big time play right there.
It's all right, Spiral. All right.
Hey, you see the spirit.
But you can't watch him just yank it. Like, give me that ball.
Yeah, that's a rebound. It's a rebound.
They only put up 63 points that game.
60.
That was just 6.
63 of them things.
Yeah, once you go over 60, it becomes a tree. It loses the R. Yeah, the R is
Good
dropped.
creativity right there. Yep.
And what a great
Number 7.
year Jacoby Myers has had.
Yes, he
Number
has.
6,
Number
week 5
6.
against the Packers, the Raiders. Intercepted him up 3 times.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you with the jump cut and the stiffy.
The Costco hoodie.
Look at young Spade.
Costco hoodie. Robert Spillane, by the way, had 2 interceptions.
Yeah. Give me that
There's
too.
the other one.
Oh, tips and overthrows.
There
Let's
it
get
is.
it. Let's get it.
He tried to climb out of that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Sorry about that. Yeah. And then finished it at the end.
Meek.
Yeah,
Meek
Meek.
came up big. Closed it down with the interception.
Yeah, he can't even get up to celebrate.
Can't get up. He got that ball, though.
That's
Number
right.
5, week 12 at the Chiefs. Can't do it without Josh Jacobs. What are
Okay,
we talking
hit it,
about?
hit it, hit it, Josh.
63-yard
Hit it.
touchdown run.
Give me that.
Stiff arm. Sorry, Mike Edwards.
Can't get stiff arm like that, bro. Yeah.
Running right
Don't forget about that man. I know
That's
Zamir
just-
White is looking good.
Josh
Do not
is-
forget about that man. He is special.
We
Great
need that
vision.
two-headed monster. Josh is one of the
just
best backs
rolling.
in the National Football League. This here is different.
Look at that.
5-yard run
Oh,
into
man.
80-yard run. Josh can do that anytime.
Yeah, that is explosive and dynamic.
Ooh.
Look forward to seeing him get healthy
Yeah, he
in
said,
this
"I
offseason.
Just give me the ball, he said.
That's what I do.
That's what he
Give me
said.
the
Just
ball.
give it to me and I'll make it happen. Number 4, Devontae Adams, week 3 against the Steelers, 4th and 1, and Jimmy Garoppolo finds him. They only needed 1 yard.
That's it.
Yeah.
They only need 1. They got 32 and
Yeah,
a
we need
touchdown. We'll take
touchdowns,
it. Here we go, week 10 at the Jets.
Oh, give me that.
One hand.
One-handed. I only
One
need
hand.
one. I only need one.
Take another look.
You know what they call that? Sticky, yicky, yicky.
I don't think that's what sticky is. But
Sticky,
week 17
Oh,
at
give me
the
that
Colts.
too.
Look,
Another
hey,
one.
that thing was on that
Helmet catch on the
Hey,
fade.
bicep, helmet, hands, all
Just
equal
look
the
at
same.
That's
and
just being the
6
bigger
of them.
man. That's
it.
just outmanning
That's just
another
different.
man
That's
right
just
there.
different
We
mindset
start
right
talking
there.
about catching under duress
Feels
in
different.
traffic,
Give me
50-50
that.
balls. That's what it's all about right here.
Contested
Just throw
balls.
it. Yeah, just throw it up to him.
Throw it.
He'll make it happen.
He'll make it happen.
take you there.
Lucky to have him. Number
Yes,
3,
we
week
are.
15 against the Chargers, Trey Tucker, the
Trey.
rookie.
Oh,
Not just
okay.
one, but he had 2 touchdowns. The first quarter, 30
Hey,
yards.
that's a ball right there, though. That thing coming out spinning the right way now.
Speed kills.
Wee.
And he has so much of it.
And then watch this.
Yeah,
Remember this
you
part?
That's how
Uh-oh.
you know
And
he got
that
speed.
round off. Simone Biles nailed the landing.
Yeah.
That's an athlete.
That boy floating.
Here we go in the second quarter.
Yeah.
20 yards.
Look at it.
It would have been 100 yards if they wasn't in the red zone. They lucky. They lucky.
He's enjoying it too. He's
Yeah.
another
I
one
see
that
ya.
everybody should be excited about.
Yes.
He's only a rookie.
Some
Number
young
2
fellas
in
out
the
here
top
making
plays
some
of
plays now.
2023.
Oh, my
John
goodness.
Jenkins. Remember Max Crosby
Who?
brought him
Oh,
up.
see that.
Big
Big dog.
return.
I see ball. I get ball. I run. Look at him. Look at Big dog running.
He's
That boy
gone.
He
going.
clocked about 6.5 miles per hour, but he got it.
I just clocked him right now on my watch.
Yeah,
I
look
got
him
7.
out.
Look at Malcolm Coots.
Oh,
Yeah, I got
Boom.
7 miles per hour.
You got 7. I thought it was about 6.5, but we'll be generous because it was
Big
such a
dog.
big
Hey, he
play.
got there, though.
Look at him get down on it too.
Oh, that's a great
Knees
scoop.
up.
That's a great
Max
scoop.
is ready to block.
Yeah, look at Max. Oh, look at yeah, look at
Everybody's
look at, look at,
excited.
look at,
I
AP
love
like
that our editor has to speed it up. And the number one
Number
play of
one.
the 2023 season is Jack
Oh,
my
Jones.
goodness.
Pick
To the
6.
house.
In week 16, he picks up Mahomes, returns it for a touchdown. Another look. This man had just become a Raider.
Yeah.
What an addition he has been.
That's a great pick.
Hold on.
That the other one,
Yeah,
though.
we just
the other one.
JJ, wait.
Okay,
I'm not done
okay.
yet.
I knew.
It is a 1 and a 1A.
I
And here
knew.
comes the 1A
yeah,
in
look
week 15.
at his
Give me that. I knew our
That's the top
producers was like
play.
that. I
Yeah.
knew our producers was
That
like
is
that.
the
I knew
top
they wasn't
play
gonna forget this right
of
here.
2023.
Oh my goodness. Hey, now.
That dude is 5
That's
yards behind the line of
unbelievable.
scrimmage, and you're
This-
playing left
How
corner,
in the
man.
heck could Bill Belichick not figure out what to do with that man?
Thank you.
We're glad
Thank
we're
you.
glad
We'll
that he
take it.
couldn't.
That's special.
Glad to see you as a Raider. Can't wait for 2024 for Jack Jones.
An appropriate number one player.
Yes.
Just, you and I, it's funny, we both had the same reaction because we're watching the feedback. And we're looking around when they get to number one. We're like, where's the Jack Jones interception?
You're like, what the heck?
And we hear in our ear, calm down, it's coming. And indeed it came. I mean, Jesse, we can sit here and debate a lot of things. I don't know if the number one player of 2023 is really up for debate.
Yeah.
Jack Jones by 25 miles, right?
I mean, look, that was one of those ones you and I were talking, much like the Patriots game 2 years ago where everyone's in the press box going like, what? That one, I remember, I'll never forget Mark Davis showing on the Jumbotron too. He's sitting there with the play. I mean, so that's one of those ones that, again, a play you will never forget. Just stuck that thing. He thought he overran it. I mean, the instincts on that, that was incredible. One of those plays that won't be topped anytime soon.
No, and certainly I think, and not to get wax too poetic on it, but really a play emblematic of the 2023 Las Vegas Raiders. Jack Jones, a guy that Antonio Pierce brought in, a guy that Antonio Pierce empowered to be himself, a guy that we've heard from a lot and says, listen, I was in a place where I couldn't necessarily be me. Now I can be me, and you're seeing kind of the fruits of that labor. And outside of that, man, just one of the most freakishly athletic things you will ever see. I do hope at some point sooner than later we see the the twist, whatever it was, kind of half circle thing. I want to see that just blown up everywhere because it's hard to do any better than that.
Put it on a fat head all over the facility, something like that.
Exactly.
It was incredible. And also, to shout out to the big man touchdowns. We were talking about it as we were watching that.
Rumbling moments.
Yeah. I mean, with Bilal and then with Adam Butler as well. Both awesome plays. You love seeing that.
Yeah, and dude, we love to see this. We love to see Jesse Merrick on set with us. Before we let you go, Jesse, you guys are crushing it at News 3. Where can people keep an eye on you this week?
Man, hit us up on X, Twitter, whatever the heck these kids are calling it this day, at Jesse News 3 LV. But tune in all night, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, you name it. We're doing it all from down here.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys are dominating. All of our media friends here in the market are doing a great job. Really, really proud to be considered peers with all of you, especially this week. So for everyone here at Silver and Black Productions, Eddie Paskal, my guy Jesse Merrick, we will be back at 2 o'clock. Amber Theo Harris handling the hosting duties. And we will see you guys next time live from Media Row.